At last, I've got a moment to do a video. I've been wanting to rant about something for a while now. Um, it's about how paganism and witchcraft has been portrayed and is seen by the masses. The total misrepresentation of it. Now I've been getting a bit bored this summer, and I've had this kind of obsession somehow for paranormal stuff because it gives you food for thought. I've been watching an English series called Most Haunted. You might have heard of it, and it's more for the stories and rather than for the supposed paranormal activity, because that's really what interested me, is the history and the ghost stories. It was just a bit of fun, you know. Because I've got my own idea on paranormal shit, but anyway, that's a whole other issue. But very often witchcraft came up, and so did paganism in connection with human sacrifice. Now, as someone who actually does give a damn about the truth, and not just an ickle bit, I am really, I love truth, and I think that's really what counts. It's so important, truth, and that's just a bunch of BS and half-truth and, a load of rubbish, really. Very few times was it said during the program, because obviously it's supposed to make you scared and everything. It's all about the money, isn't it? It's all commercial, but the witchcraft does exist, for one thing, and it's not all bad. But they did actually say that, for example, in Wales, witches were very much respected because they were, for the most part, healers. And, that's basically what they are. And most of them, yeah, there's a dark side to that as well, because what we're talking about as well is, like we are with paganism, and there again, you've got to define paganism as well. But all this is sort of orbiting around the subject of the occult. Now, people as well, most people would think occult, it's dark, it's evil, it's devil worship. No, that's not what the occult is. The occult, it just means hidden. So it's hidden knowledge, basically. You have dark occultists and light occultists. Now, the occult in itself is neither light nor dark. It's neither good nor bad. It's just knowledge, for goodness sake. That's all it is. It's like an object is neither good nor bad. A hammer is neither good nor bad. It can be used to build houses for the homeless for good, or it can be used to smash somebody's skull in for bad. So it really depends on the user. Same thing with the occult. So you've got the good guys who are the light occultists, who will either share that knowledge with people, or they will keep it preciously and only share it with people who they see as worthy, in that they won't use it for ill purposes. Unfortunately, that's kind of already happened. Those of you who know me will know that I'm into Gnosticism, and that's what the Gnostics tried to do. They were light occultists. They tried to keep this knowledge out of the hands of wrongdoers, people of ill intent, and that kind of went wrong. And the dark occultists, well, they're running the world now. That is a difference. And it's the same thing with witchcraft. You've got white witches, they call them, and black or dark witches, So it's the same thing. And obviously in my ghost shows, it was always the bad witches, wasn't it? Always the ones who are killing babies and eating people and, just sick and twisted shit. And devil worshippers and, invoking Satan, please, give me a break. And there's me sitting there thinking, these people have no clue that Satan and God are the same freaking entity, is what it boils down to. It's all a freaking demented demiurge, but that's another story for another day. And so, yeah, I got pretty pissed off with that as far as witchcraft goes. because I've got nothing against Wiccans. It's not really my bag. Some of the Wiccan stuff is cool, some of it isn't. I don't think anybody's got the whole truth on that, really. That's I don't think the Wiccans have got it, the whole truth. But I do think they're pretty close, and not as far as the mystery schools and the occultists. But they have a certain level of knowledge and a certain abilities. Thanks to their knowledge, they can do good and they can do bad, and they can have some effect. But yeah, so that was something that is pretty common, is the whole witchcraft thing. There are good witches and bad witches, but people tend to focus on the negative as usual. It's weird, isn't it, how people do that? I think that might be also just maybe a desired effect, or just an unfortunate side effect of all the shit that we live through, this world that we live in, this world that is so negative. That's a good question, actually. Why are we so drawn to the negative? Maybe it's to make ourselves feel better. Maybe our sad little lives don't feel so awful if we think about even worse stuff. Who knows? But again, the same thing is with pagans as well. First thing I thought of when they were saying pagans and human sacrifice was, well, for me, pagans, druids and gnostics, they're like of the same group, if you see what I mean. They're not quite the same, but they're on the same side. They're the same. I mean, there's within the Gnostics network, there were schools of Druidism, and the Druids' teachings and knowledge was taught and kept by Gnostics. So there is a link, and of course it all goes back to the mysteries, because it's all this hidden knowledge, all occult. And when they said, and so I thought human sacrifices, and when I was a kid at school, and I learned history, and I also studied Latin, so that kind of makes you redo your Roman history a bit more. And as far as I was taught, the only actual evidence, so-called evidence, for the Druids practicing human sacrifice was the Roman sake, so because it was propaganda against their enemies, the Druids. And actually, the Druids were completely massacred by the Romans, as any chance they got, and they threw a lot of resources into basically trying to wipe them out. And I remember at the time when I learnt that, oh, so Druids didn't commit human sacrifices. Though, because me too, as a kid, I liked all the sort of gore and scary stories and that kind of thing. I was almost disappointed that they didn't commit human sacrifices, but I always felt that they were nice people, the Druids. Somehow they didn't seem that evil and that power hungry, as to do that. It just didn't seem right, and I don't think it is right. And now it's come to light. Apparently, there are claims that there is archaeological evidence that human sacrifice took place at this time, and is linked to the Druids. Well, I don't know if it is linked to the Druids or not. I'm not saying what didn't happen in the era where paganism was all over. And again, paganism can be a word just to describe pre-Christian religion in Europe. For me, actually, paganism means it's the kind of religion that's more earth-based, spirit-based, ancestor-based, like the Native Americans' beliefs. It's a healthy kind of religion, if such a thing exists. It's paganism. It's being close to nature, close to the earth, close to the spirit world, understanding that there is more to this world than meets the eye. It's a very wise and healthy belief system for me, and that's what I understand by paganism. So when they say that these human sacrifices are pagan, well, they might be just talking about that period. And as for the Druids, well, I'm not so sure, because I believe that, like with the occultists in general, I mean, for me, Druids were occultists. So therefore, you're going to have light occultists and dark occultists. There are always going to be some renegades who are going to go over to the dark side of the force, as it were. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did commit human sacrifice in the most horrific way. I mean, human sacrifice still goes on to this day. You've got dark occultists running the world. I'm not saying all the things that we say about the so-called Illuminati or whatever and their human sacrifice rituals are true. I'm not sure how much of it is true, because that's the alternative media, the so-called truth movement, going after that and spreading those stories around. And for me, that kind of truth movement thing, it's becoming like a second mainstream for me. So yeah, not really interested in what they have to say that much. Yeah, I guess I think you've got to look at a bit of mainstream, a bit of alternative, and do your own research independently. I think you've got to try and get as many sources and just think for yourself, for goodness sake. Again, this is why people are believing just, oh yeah, okay, pagans, human sacrifices, witches, evil, nasty, devil worshipping, all of the whole paganism, druids, witches, all lumped together as one big devil worshipping family. That's basically what they're passing it all off as. And it has to be known that witchcraft and paganism, yeah, you could say they're linked, but they're also independent. They don't rely on one another. I mean, I suppose you could say Wiccan is a form of paganism as well, but just clumping them all together and just saying it's all bad and evil. Funny how I wonder how many religious crusades the pagans went on. I don't know. Does anybody know how many? How many wars were started because of paganism? How many people were tortured to death because they wouldn't convert? I don't know. Just a question like that. No, but yeah, I'm sick and tired. And another good thing about paganism, actually, it's way better. Not only is it earth-based, it's more connection to spirit. It's also encouraging individuals' discovery of their own spirituality rather than following rules or instructions. They have guidelines more. So this could help you get further in the path. Ways of finding your own way. Because we're all so unique, and also there is no suppression of the divine feminine. The goddess has not been sacrificed in paganism, whereas it has in the monotheistic, patriarchal, Abrahamic religions, which propagate as well the Redeemer complex like a virus, which doesn't exist in paganism either. It's there is no. We don't need to be saved. Saved from what? It just encourages us to be good to ourselves, to one another, to honor ourselves and each other and the earth. Anyway, that's enough from me. I don't even know if this was really a rant or what. It was a tired rant. Anyway, I'm just really happy to do another video, and that'll be it for now. Thank you for listening. Bye.